Hello everyone, welcome to Community Force webinar. Sorry about that. My name is Mehreen Mirza and I'm going to facilitate this webinar and answer your questions during the Q&A break. We are waiting for everyone else to join. So while we wait for the other attendees to join, let us show you how you can use this webinar to ask questions and access the handouts. Now, as you can see, there is a panel on the right-hand side of your screen with an arrow. Please use the arrow that is represented in an orange box to collapse or open the panel. This will give you a little bit more screen space while we conduct the presentation. You can also use the question area to type in your questions and click on send or enter. We will receive your questions and answer them during the Q&A break, or I will continue answering the questions behind the scenes while Christine is giving the presentation. If we miss answering any of your questions during the webinar, we will send you a response back after the webinar via email. Also, a copy of today's presentation is available in the handout section. Please click on the PDF copy by clicking on the title of the handout as shown here. The handouts contain links to individual help guides, knowledge-based articles for each of the topics that we are going to cover today. Also, all of you have been put on mute in order to avoid any confusion during the presentation. Let's see. Okay, anyhow, it's 101. Okay, let's get started. Let's see that since most of you have joined, let's start with the brief of today's webinar, and the topic for today is awarding applicants for the one-to-one application process. We have with us Christine Smith, who will be our trainer for today and will go over all the relevant areas under the topic. The duration of this webinar is 1 hour. I will pass over the mic to Christine. All yours, Christine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.
And thank you so much, Maureen, for getting us started for today's session. So of course, like Maureen mentioned, the webinar is going to cover a brief overview of how to award your applicants. And we're going to be using the one-to-one application process. So that's when you have one application form and there's only one funding source attached to that. So we will predominantly be using the grant site today. It's the same functionality if you are a scholarship user. It is the same functionality. It's just the terminology you'll see on the screen will be for grants. And so it would just be a replacement of that terminology is the only difference in the screens. So we're going to show you how to award your applicants using your Manage Awards One Fund process. And we'll discuss how you can build out acceptance sections and post-acceptance sections so that you can collect information regarding your award agreements, as well as any additional post-award requirements you may have, such as like quarterly, annual reports, scholarships. Maybe you want to collect additional information as to where to send the funding, that sort of thing. So who's going to benefit from today's webinar? So any of you who are administrators that are responsible for awarding applicants and notifying applicants of their award. If you're responsible for releasing award agreements and releasing follow-up status reports to your applicants, you're the ones that are going to be benefiting from today's session. So for the topics for today, we're going to be talking about managing awards one fund, then how to edit awards, like maybe you've made an award and you need to edit. We'll go over how to do that. And then after you've made the awards, how do you notify your applicants? What are some special fields you need to look at in your email templates to make sure you're getting the right information to your applicants? Then we'll take a quick break for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then after the break, we'll continue and we'll talk about those post-acceptance and acceptance sections. What are they? And then how to build them out, how to release them. And then for post-accepted sections, we'll talk about a special report that we have out there as well. So to get started with our very first topic, we're going to talk about the actual award screen, the Manage Awards One Fund. And so this is the screen that, since you have a one application process, you're going to be using this specific area to award your applicants. This is where you're going to do all your awarding of your applicants from that one form area. So to access the Manage Awards One Fund, you'll log in, of course, as the administrator, and then locate the application form you're going to do the awarding for. And then once you open up that application form, you're going to look for a tab up here called Awards and select that tab. And so this is where you're going to be awarding. And then once you get to this screen, make sure you're not in the multiple funds, but you're going to want to be in the Manage Awards One Fund screen. And then once you click on it, that will take you to this specific screen here. Now, before you start awarding, one thing you do want to make sure of is that you're awarding in the correct fiscal period for that funding source. So this is the funding source. So how do you know what fiscal period you're awarding in? Well, you're going to want to go to the application settings and just confirm that you're in the correct period that you want this awarding to fall in. And then under general information, if you open that up, you're going to see a field that says fiscal year. So this is the year that the awarding is coming out of. This is that fiscal period. So you want to make sure that that's the correct fiscal period. You can always make the adjustment, but you do want to do that before you do any funding, because once you start awarding, it's going to put it into that specific period. So let's go back to the awards screen here. So if I go back to the awards screen, one fund, you're also going to notice on that screen the amount available. So you may be wondering, where is it picking up this amount available? Well, if I go back to the Manage Funds, this is in the fund setup for that funding source. This is the funding source that we're using to award our applicants. We've checked the fiscal year, so we know it's the correct fiscal year. So now maybe we need to make an adjustment to this monetary amount. Maybe it's not 200,000, maybe we got some more funding, so we want to increase that. So that is located under the Manage Funds. And then you want to locate that specific funding source that we're looking at. So if I search for it, it'll be quicker to find. There's that funding source. I'm going to select that funding source. And then under here in the edit, you're going to look at the annual budget fiscal year. And then that's going to have the 24-25 because it's picking it up from the application form that's tied to it. And then here is where that budget amount is coming from for that fiscal period. And so this is where you would make that change. If it wasn't 200, you could maybe increase it to 300 or so forth, whatever you need to do. And of course, if you do make a change, then you would want to come down here, hit save and exit to make sure you save those changes before you go back out. So I'm going to go back to the awarding screen and open that up again. Okay, so now once you're on this screen, what you're going to see is a list of your applicants. And so this kind of gives you the big picture. You can kind of see everything that's going on here. Now, since this is a grant site, I do have an organization column and then my applicant. But if you are a scholarship user, you will not have this organization name field because you are not awarding organizations, you're awarding individuals. So this column right here will not be present on a scholarship site. And then, of course, if you haven't activated the program name on a scholarship site, then you won't have this column as well. So this is mainly the two fields, the two columns that are on grant sites that you may not see on your scholarship site. So, of course, here's the applicant's email. You can also come over here. You can see this total score and then the average score. So what it's doing here is it's giving you the total score and the average score. And how it's picking up these total scores and average scores is if we go over here to the applicant score over here, this little field there, it's going to show me all of the scores for that specific applicant. And if you remember right, when we're looking at tasks and scores, it's always going to show you the combined scores for all the tasks that you have turned on in the evaluation process. So right now I have my committee review and my health review. Now you're going to notice here this total score on this screen, it says 1568, and how it gives the average on the other screen is it averages only the 100% complete. So these two right here, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 reviews that are out here, but it's only going to average on the 5 that are here. So we've got these 100% and this 100%. That's how it's getting that average. It's going to disregard these 2 as they didn't review. And so when it does the average against this 1568, it's going to do it against those ones that are 100%. Now, if I wanted to just see the committee review, I can come up here to filter by the task, and I can say, just show me the committee review, and I can get that total score. And then I can revert back to all, or maybe I just want to see the health review. I can see that. But what it's going to do is show you all of the review tasks that are currently turned on in this evaluation screen. So that's the evaluations, reviewer task setup. All of them that are turned on here are the ones that are showing in that award screen to pick up that score that I'm looking at. So in my review, I do want to combine of my committee review and my health review. I want to combine those 2 scores together. So I want to keep them turned on, and then go back to the award screen here. But if you don't, then you do want to make sure and turn those off, which we covered in our last training, how to do that. So now I'm back here. I'm looking at this. I know that this is my total score. This is my average score. I can come up here and I can sort my high to lows if I wish, and put everybody that's the highest score so that I know who my high scores are. If I only have so much money and only so much to give, then I can base it off of that if you're using that scoring system. Otherwise, if not, then you just base it off of what your specific rules and regulations are for your awarding. And then also if you're using automated scoring, you're going to notice if there's an automated score, it's going to also show you that here on this screen as well. And then these 2 columns here, especially for grant users, this is the requested amount. This is coming from their application form. There's a specific question that was built with specific XML. And when the system sees that XML, it knows to populate this column with the requested amount. And the same with the budgeted amount. This is the amount they've budgeted for their program. I can see that here. That's also a specific question that has specific XML that's used to be able to show here on the screen. So those are the main things you're seeing. You got the score, you see who your applicants are, and you can see the breakdown of everything. And then of course, if you have these 2 questions here activated in your application form, especially if you're grant users, you're going to know what are they requesting, what's the funding they are requesting, and what's the budget amount that they need. Otherwise, scholarships, you're probably going to see these columns too, but they're probably going to be empty. They're not going to have any data in them because you're not creating those questions in your application form. They'll show zeros. So to award applicants, you would go into the edit mode here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the edit mode. And as soon as you click that edit mode, what happens is it does open up some fields, and I am going to shrink the screen down here just so you can see everything. So you have these specific fields that open up to start doing your awarding. Now, any of the applicants you're awarding, you do have to come over here to the select column and select the ones that you want to give awards to. So you're right here, you're looking, right now you're looking, you can see their status over here. If I scroll over, you also, while you're in this award screen, if you want to change their status detail, you can do that all in this process as well. So over here, you're going to notice 2 columns to award them. You have an initial award column, and you also have a final award column. So what's the difference between the 2? When you give an applicant an award on our system and you populate the final award field and you save that award, that applicant's status is going to immediately move to selected for an award. As soon as you award it and save it, it's going to put them to selected for award. So what happens is if you have a process in play where we're going to talk about the post-acceptance sections, that sort of thing, as soon as they are selected for an award, sections may appear on their dashboard, or there's an accept deny button that appears on their dashboard. So you may not want to put them to the final award yet because maybe you need to notify the board. The board needs to review it, what you're anticipated award amount is, let the board review it, then you come back here and populate the final award amount. So that's what the initial award. The initial award is kind of a placeholder to enter the awards. And then what you can do, you can enter the figures in the initial award, save the screen, and it won't move their status to under committee review. So for instance, here, how do I award? I'm going to do just an initial award on a couple of these two here. I'm going to do initial award of 2,000. I'm going to come down here, enter 2,000, and you can do this per screen. So you want to make sure your applicants are selected. And since I have more screens, of course, I'm only doing page 1, but everybody on this page, I want to populate with what needs to be populated. And then once that's done, I hit save. So since I'm just populating the initial award field right now, nothing is getting, nobody's going to get moved to, make sure you select them, to the status of selected for award. So here I have my initial award, I've created it, and I hit save. Now you do not, if you want to go ahead and do your final award, you can. You don't have to populate the initial award, but for those clients, that's why we have this, is it's kind of that placeholder. Maybe you want, if you're a scholarship, maybe you want to put your figure in the initial award, and maybe you have an awards banquet. So you don't want everything to be final award yet, because you don't want the applicants to know that they've been awarded just yet. So you put everything in the initial award, you go to your award banquet, notify the applicants that they've been awarded, and then come back to the system and enter the final award figures. And then it'll go to selected for an award. You can tell them at the award blanket in a couple of days, you need to return to your dashboard and do the acceptance process. So that's for scholarship users, maybe a scenario. Grant users, you enter the award, you want to get a nice report to present to your board before you do a final award. The board approves it, and then you can come back here and enter the final award for that scenario. So here you see there's an Excel spreadsheet. So you can click the Excel, you can export this to Excel, and then that report is one that you can give to your board. At your award banquet, you can maybe have it in front of you, mark off, who you've notified, so you know who you need to do the final awards for. So that's what the purpose of that is. And then, like I said, if you don't want to, you don't need to, but you'll notice everyone that I did that on the initial award, it has not populated them as selected for an award. Anybody that doesn't have a final award yet will not be at that status. So if you use the initial award, then of course you just come here. And then once you're ready to do the final award, there is a nice little helpful tool we have on this One Fund screen. So what I can do is I can go back into the edit mode. And then once I'm in the edit mode, you're going to notice this little drop down here. I can select it. And what I can do is come here and select the applicants that have the initial award. And also, if I wanted to, maybe not this one's already got one. So maybe if it's not 2,000, maybe the board said, no, we only want to give the 1,500. I can make that adjustment here as well. Or maybe you want to see what you did present to the board. You could leave that and then not select this one in this process. But I'm going to go ahead, because what's going to happen is with this little drop down, it will automatically take everything that's in the initial award column, and it will update the final award. So if I select that, I'm going to come here and select Update Final Award. And then what it's going to do is telling me it's going to copy what's in the initial award to the final award. I hit Continue. Now, I'm not done yet. You're going to notice it still says Status under Committee Review. And the reason that is because I still need to save this. So I do want to go ahead and select those applicants again here. This one and this one. And then hit Save. And now you're going to notice when I scroll over, it now has them selected for an award and they're at the final award status. Now, another thing that you have in the edit mode in this drop down is, let's say you have batch awards. So you have all of your applicants are getting equal amounts. They're getting you have so many applicants, they're all getting the same amount. What you have up here is an ability to update here. So let's say this individual, and this individual are all getting the same award. I can come here, hit update initial final, and I have some choices. I can put the same amount. So I'm going to say I want everybody to get 1,000, same batch. So everyone's getting the same award. And I can determine, do I want to put it in the initial award? Or maybe I just want to skip the initial award and do the final award. Or maybe I want to populate both fields. Then I can do that. And then I can put the award amount. And then here, I'm just going to do a final award. And I'm going to hit update so you can kind of see what happens when you do that. And now you're going to see everybody that I said do the 1,000. Now, again, notice it hasn't updated anything yet because I do have to hit the save. And then once I hit the save, all of those awards have been made. So that's how you create awards in the system. It's that simple. Now, maybe there's a situation where you need to make an edit. So you do have the ability to edit awards. So I'm going to go back to that awards screen. And to edit an award, all you need to do is go into the edit mode. And when you edit an award, you're going to notice something. If you go and you remove an award completely, it's going to change their status for you. So if I go in here and I take out this 1,000 and I make that 0, it's going to change their status back to under committee review because they're no longer selected for an award. If I come here and I change this figure, it's going to keep this as selected for an award. It's not going to affect anything. Now, if I was just working in the initial award, of course, it's not going to affect anything anyway, but that's how you make the edits. You just come in here and make your adjustments, and then make sure when you make those adjustments that you do select, and unfortunately, I don't remember which one I put the 0 now. I think it was this one. Yes, because it's selected for an award. And then you make sure and hit save. And then when you go back over here, the one you're going to notice it put it back to under committee review here. And then these are still selected for an award, but the amount I've put in there is changed. So that's how easy it is to make an edit. It's very simple. Now, one thing you don't see here is we're awarding applicants, but what you don't see is the actual not selected for an award. So if you're not awarding someone, the system doesn't automatically put them at not selected for an award, and unfortunately you can't put them to that status of not selected for an award on this screen. So you do have to go to the manage applications screen, and then from this screen you would want to select the ones that you didn't award. So like these two here, they were still, maybe I'm going to put them here and here. You would go over here to the filter and then change their status to not selected for an award. And you can see you can do this in bulk per page. So if I would say not selected for an award, I can change their status, and then I can say not selected. And then maybe the reason why, and maybe if I want the applicant to see this, then I can always put show to applicant, and they would be able to see the reason why we didn't select them for an award as well, if you wanted to do that. And then go ahead and hit save. And then the ones that I've selected will now be at the status of not selected for an award. So you do have to do that manually. So now, once you've done your awarding, of course, your next step is how do you let the applicants, how do you notify them? So when notifying your applicants in a one-to-one application process, You want to make sure you get the correct fields based on what you have populated at the time you're notifying them of the award. So in the notification center, there's one template out there that is very important. It brings up all the fields that are needed for your award. And if I go to that template, so you know which one it is, here I have this award notification email. So this email here is my email that has the merge fields available for the award functionality. So since this is a single award, this is a one fund, is the only fund they're getting awarded. Some things that you might want to make sure you have in there is you might want to make sure you have the grant and fellowship name so they know the name of the award that they're being awarded. That's going to be the same one that's on the application form. So that's that merge field here that's in there that we've pulled over. This is the merge field here. Of course, if you don't know how to put merge fields in, there is going to be a training on the notification center coming so that you can understand how to do that. But you want to make sure that field's in there so that they know the name of the fund. That way you're not having to retype it every time. If you just put this field in, then all you have to do is every year when you roll over the application, it's going to automatically pick that funding source up. And then of course here, any other message you want to relay to them. And then here, you're going to notice this field right here. So if you're notifying them on the initial award and their status hasn't gone to selected for award yet, and you only want to give them the initial award, you want to give them the notification, then come back and populate the final award, make sure that you pick the initial award field. Otherwise, if you've already put the awards in the system, you've already done the final award, you can actually put the final award figure here so that they know what that is. But make sure you get the correct field depending on what you want them to know and when in the process you're telling them. Because of course, if you haven't populated the initial award, or you've populated the initial award, but you haven't pushed it to the final award, and then you put final award here, it's going to show a balance of 0. So that's an important element depending on what you're doing. And of course, in this message here, you're going to want to let them know, like if we get into the post acceptance after the break here, if you're using those, maybe you're going to notify them, hey, you've been awarded this award. Now you need to return to your dashboard and complete the next step of the process to accept the award. And then how to do that. Maybe with the acceptance process, there's an accept or decline button. And so then when they click accept, you will be notified via a message, not a message, as well as it'll show on the screen award accepted as their status. So you'll know they accepted it. So there's those 2 buttons out there that they see that they can accept or decline an award. And then depending on which button they push, it's going to notify you. So if you're using all that process, you want to make sure to put that in there and direct them back to their application form so they know the next steps of the process. So that's the email template. And of course, then when you're ready to send it to them, you can either while you're in the award screen, you're going to notice in that award screen, you can notify them from that screen by selecting the applicants that you've awarded and then hit the notify button. And then make sure you find that template, get the template, it'll populate it, and then you can schedule it or you can send it now and then go ahead and send the message out. That's one way. Or if you're in the notification center and everybody's at that status of selected for an award, you know what everybody is because it's only going to send it to that status, you can notify from here and then set the status at selected for an award. Again, you do have to get the template. Always important to pull the right template. And then you can send it via that way as well. And then what it'll do is everyone that's at the status of selected for an award, so this would only be when you're using that final award. You wouldn't be able to do that on the initial award because it would send it to everybody under committee review, and maybe everybody at the status of under committee review at this time doesn't have hasn't been awarded. You haven't put the not selected for an award. So that's one thing when you're using this and you're thinking of status, it's only going to send them to that status. And of course, if you have people that shouldn't be getting a message that are still under committee review and you selected under committee review, they're going to get it as well. So that's how you can you want to make sure of what status they're at when you send that. and that everybody that's in that pool should be getting this same message. So that's where we're going to go ahead and take a break and stop here. And then after the break, we'll go on to after they've been awarded, you've notified them, the next steps after that. So I'll turn it over to you, Maureen, for any questions that may have come in.
Sure, Christine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have a question on the manager word screen. Christine, can we go? Because the client here, the attendee, she's asking if they can rank the applicants. Like, can I see the rank instead of the scores? Unfortunately, the ranking system isn't there in the system currently. We cannot rank. That's a whole, in the evaluation process. We've covered that. But what you can do is, if when you see the total score, right, as Christine has showed, the average score or the total score, you can change the order. The highest scoring applicant gets the highest funding, if that's what you're looking for. So if you change, see the highest scoring applicants, the total score or the average score, that depends on you. So not necessarily the ranking, but this is how you can do the ranking in your system from highest to lowest. Okay. Another question is, does the system send an automatic notification to the applicants when I give an award, maybe an initial award or a final award? There's no way that the system is going to notify any of your applicants, nor do they see on the applicant dashboard or under my applications tab. They're not going to get any of that information. But you will have to notify them that they've been given an award. Until and unless you do that, the applicants will not be notified. We want to make sure that none of the spam emails are going into the applicants' inboxes unnecessarily. And while you're still doing the initial awarding, right, you're still in conversation with your team and making your final decisions. You're just dispersing the funds internally. So don't worry about anything being sent out to the applicant until and unless you have manually sent an email. Okay. If you input final award, won't the applicant see it on their dashboard before you send the award notice? No, John, they will not. The one thing that they can see is they can see the accept and decline button. For example, if an applicant has a tendency of coming in and continue looking into the application, the dashboard, how far have I come? Because they have not received any emails, but you've given them the final award. What they can see on their dashboard is an accept button and a decline button on the top right hand side of their dashboard. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, do not worry, none of your applicants are going to receive any such automatic notifications from the system. Christine, you were giving an input, I believe.
No, I was just moving my cursor out of the way.
Okay, all right. Okay. My applicants are not showing on my Manage Award One Fund screen. What could be the reason? Well, you might want to go back and check if you have moved your funding source before the awarding has been done into the next application. Did you remove the association assigned the associated fund from the current application where you were supposed to be doing the awarding and assigned it to the new fund, new application for the next year? Please make sure that you complete the awarding first and only then if you are using a rolling fund. Otherwise, please create a new fund. If that sort of thing happens to you, please reach out to us on Zendesk. Our support team will help you out sort that, help you sort it out. All right. Will I get a notification when the applicant has accepted the award, or do I have to go in and look at that dashboard? You can receive an email. Cindy, there are site settings. Right. Okay. Christine is showing us. So as long as there is an application contact associated on your application settings, number one, there should be an application contact. Number two, these are the settings under site settings. So there is an application post acceptance, enable post acceptance section submit, and any of these settings, if you enable those, and if you have an application contact, when they submit, you will receive an email. Those settings will help you receive emails, making sure that the email inbox you have access to it, as Christine is showing. These two are present from the administration site settings screen. Okay.
And
So,
then
but
just
make
so
sure.
they know what you mean by application contact, let me go to that too, so that they
Yes,
know
please.
what has to be
Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
who it's going to notify. So here in the
Yes.
application form here, under application settings,
Yes.
in the general information,
Yeah,
it's going to send it to the individual that you have as the contact here.
there we go. So make sure that the contact that you're assigning or associating with that application is an inbox that more than one person has access to if you can, because otherwise, if it's a personal contact, then you will be getting all of these emails. Submission, you're receiving emails. Okay. Accept, decline, you're receiving emails. So just make sure that you have an inbox that can be a common inbox sort of thing. All right. I have answered all of my questions. Yeah, I think Cindy has asked pretty much the same question as someone else. Okay,
Okay, good, good. And then just so John knows, I'll elaborate a little bit more on his question as well on the next portion than when we get into here now.
absolutely, Christine. So, John, we'll get back to you. Christine is going to get into that part.
Yes,
Thank you,
I'm
Christine.
going to show you
Thank
some
you,
more
everyone.
little steps. Okay, let me put this. So that brings us to, now they've received the award. So then the next thing is if you're using acceptance and post-accepted sections. So what are acceptance and post-accepted sections? And I will, after we get through all this, I will go in as an applicant so you can see how this is all viewable to an applicant as well. So an accepted section would be the next step in your process of where they're accepting the award. Acceptance sections, you can have more than one if you need to, where they see what the award is. So a lot of times you tie in what the award, there's in a field, a question type, and I'll show you that as well, that shows the award amount that they've received. And then additional fields of information that you need to collect from them. That's an acceptance field. Post-acceptance would be after they've accepted the award. So that, and then with the acceptance section, they also click the acceptance or denial button. So after they've accepted the award, you can have additional sections. Once they click the accept and they move to the status of accepted award, you can have additional sections show up on their dashboard to collect additional information. Now, the acceptance and post-acceptance, you can control when they get those. And so what you do is you control it, one, by status, but maybe they're at a status of selected for an award and you don't want them to get that section. You also can control it by activating it and deactivating that section so that when you're ready to get it, you would go in and activate the section and then let them know about it. So acceptance sections, so to build out these sections, let me go ahead and go out here. And I'm going to go into the application settings because that's where you build those sections. They're part of the application form. So here's my original build of my application form. I have my original application sections. And then here, this is where it's going to kind of veer off a little bit. You're also going to notice the deadline on these sections are the same as my application. But here I have my award agreement. And then I also have my mid-year grant reports and year-end grant reports. Those are post-accepted. So they accept the award here, and then they have the post-accepted sections here. So when you build out these sections, so let's talk about award sections first. So over here, when you create an acceptance section, so I'm going to hit the edit. In the edit, one, you got a section type here. That way, when you're looking at that screen, you want to make sure you put that as acceptance so you know, okay, this is my accepted section. But this is the key right here of who's going to get that section. So this is saying only show this section to applicants that are selected for an award, award accepted, and I have award declined. I guess I like to leave it out there so that they can still because if you don't put award declined, once they decline it, it goes away, but maybe they want to come back and make an adjustment and change, you can release it or something like that. So here, I say only if they're at these three statuses will they see this section on their screen. So as soon as an applicant gets put to selected for an award, yes, John, this will show up on their screen because they're at selected for an award. It's going to be on their dashboard. So also another thing here you're going to notice, which we'll talk about how to get around that as well. I have a section deadline because I don't want it to be the same deadline as my application form. It's going to be past that. So I want to make sure and I give them an appropriate deadline date to complete this section once they get it. and of course the time, and then the message. This is the message. Maybe this is you have until this to complete this, and any instructions you want to give them in that section. So I'm going to hit save and exit. So this is the acceptance section. So now when I go into this award agreement here, you can kind of see some of the ways we've built this out. Now, a lot of you have the same message that goes out to all your clients. So on the terms, so this is giving them, you can kind of see some of the questions I have in here. This is a grant site, so I'm kind of pulling in what's the name of their program that's coming from their direct application. It's a linked question. Whatever they answered in their application, they can see that. So it's nice. Any questions that they answered that you want them to see here, you can put in here as a linked question. So they're not answering it, it's just showing how did they answer it previously. Then you come here and you put that in here. The award amount. So you can see here, I've got two different illustrations. This one is a process where the staff is filling out an award amount. And so it's linking it to that staff section. So you can kind of see that. But of course, if you're awarding in our system, then of course it's going to populate it that way. Or if you're awarding in our system, you can use this amount awarded and then use the question type called awarded grant question type. And what it'll do is it'll look at what you awarded them and then automatically populate it with that specific field. It's not linked to something that you're typing in. This is where it's coming from the Manage Awards screen and populating it that way. And then of course here I have my terms. This is the terms of their program, terms of their award, scholarship. You might have that in here. But some of our clients have a scenario where maybe each applicant has different terms. They're not all the same terms. So how would I do that? Well, what you can do is you can actually create in your application form your staff section. And here in your staff, I have a staff award decision. This is where I have my staff section. And in my staff section, I've created fields that are items that I can actually put my message to that specific applicant. So like here, I have my award contingencies. So depending on the award they received or the program, this is a grant site, I have a different message I want to give them. So I can come here on my form when I'm completing it as a staff section. I can come here and enter what those contingencies are for that applicant. So anything that's pertaining to this applicant, I can put in a staff section. And then if it's something they need to see on a screen, then all I need to do then is in that new section, which is what I did in the award agreement section, is I can create a linked question that populates what I put in that staff section. So that field would be populated based on what I said there. Maybe they have different due dates. So you put the due date in the staff section, they come here, and then they can see when that is to be completed by. So that's how you work around when you need to get different messages to different applicants in this award agreement form. Sometimes other clients, they'll just attach a document that shows the award agreement, and then they go through that whole signage process. But here you're kind of giving it to them and then they're submitting it, and so that submittal is considered the sign off on that award process. So that's acceptance sections. That's how that works. Now for post acceptance, so once they select the award, you're going to put in here, you're going to notice down here that once they select the award, they want to click the accept and decline button. You're going to see when I go in as an applicant, they're going to have that accept and decline button. Once they click the accept, their status is going to go to accepted for an award. If they click the decline, it's going to go to decline the award. And you're going to see that in the manage application screen. You're going to see what their status is based on what they've clicked. Not by them completing this form, but by them clicking that button. So you want to incorporate that in there so that once they complete this form, you know because they clicked the accept button that they've completed that form. Otherwise, if they haven't, then you can contact them and let them know they haven't completed it. So then once they've accepted it, there's no more statuses left in the system. So that takes us to the post-accepted sections. So if I go to the sections and questions for a post-accepted section, you're going to build it out the same way. So here's my post-accepted sections. You're going to build it out the same way. You're going to make sure you put post-acceptance. And then when you come here, this is where it's going to change a little bit, because I only want the people who have accepted the award, who are at that status of award accepted, that's the last status in the system, that they get these sections going forward. Only those individuals that have accepted it are the ones that are going to be doing the acceptance, the post-acceptance process. They've accepted it. Now this is after they've accepted it. I have additional sections I need you to complete. Again, section deadline, deadline date. However, the only difference with this one is now you want to put a submit button on there. And you're going to want to give them a message to make sure they click the submit button, because when they click that submit button, that's what's going to trigger you to get a message as the contact, as well as we're going to show you here a report. It's going to notify you when they've completed that report. That submit button is the trigger that causes that to happen on a post-accepted section, because there's no more statuses that tell you that they've completed it. So that's why that submit button is very crucial in this process. And that's for the post acceptance. Okay, so now we've got our sections built. And so kind of to help John with his question, I haven't told my applicants yet about their award, so I don't want them to get this section. And of course, these evaluation reports or my post accepted sections, maybe they don't get them for a couple months, and I don't want them to complete them yet. I don't want them to start them and see them and say, oh, what's going on? I can control it by coming over here. See this activate section? I can control what they see. So if this is not selected, so you would unselect and hit save, and applicants are only going to see the section based on their status that is active. So what I can do is I can unselect this, do my awards, do my final award, keep this unselected, send them their email. As soon as I send them their email, to make sure that I've done everybody in bulk, I can come here, hit this selection here, and hit save, and they'll now have that on their dashboard. Now, if I haven't activated these, they won't have those on their dashboard. So maybe I might want them to get, maybe I have an acceptance, then once they click that, they go out and come back in. I want them to complete some more information, especially scholarships. Maybe I need to know where to send the money, that sort of thing. You've now accepted it. Where do we send the money? You can create a post-accepted section for that. So here is how I control it. Grant reports, maybe they're not due for 6 months, so I don't want that out there on their dashboard. Maybe 6 months, it comes 5 months, they have a month to complete it. I'm going to send them an email manually through the system. I'll send one, the system doesn't, but you can send them an email, say, hey, time to do your grant evaluation report, then come here, select it, hit save, and it's active for them to complete. Same with the year end, comes time for them to do it, click it, hit save, and it's ready for them to complete. So hopefully that answers your question on how you can control that as well. And then you want to make, it's always important though, once you activate and deactivate, to make sure and mark them as saved. So I think that it covers everything on how to build them out. So, and then how to release them to your applicants. So now let's talk a little bit about once the applicant accepts that award agreement, they're going to come here and you're going to see their status as accepted for an award, of course. But then what about the post-accepted section, since I said that's the last status? So if I go out here, we do have a report called the post-accepted section status report. And that's the report that lets you know what they've completed with their post-accepted sections. So if I go out here, back to the site, under Manage Reports, and then here you're going to see Manage Post-Accepted Status. If I select that, that's going to show you, here is the report. Here's the applicants. You can drill down and you can see their dashboard, so you can see what they've done. But here you're going to be able to see, there's my two sections, my post-accepted sections, not the acceptance, because that's going to be, the status is going to be award accepted. But here's those two sections, mid-year grant and year-end grant. And then when they complete these, it's going to show that they've submitted and the date that they've submitted that section. So that's the report that you'll go to once you're wanting to see when they've completed those sections, you've released it, and then you want to see who's done. You come here and you'll be able to see a submittal date under that. So that's those sections. So now I'm going to log out and log in as an applicant. So you can see this from the applicant's perspective. Now remember, I have all three of mine activated. I have an applicant that is at selected for an award. So if I go to manage applications, I have this applicant. She's selected for an award. And so this is where she's at. I've notified her of the award and told her to go into her dashboard and do the next steps. So if I log out, what does she do? So she's going to log in like she normally would. Hopefully I got my passwords right here. And go to her dashboard, to her My Applications. She's going to locate that application form. I think it's this one. And of course, this wouldn't be completed, but to make the program move along, the training to move along, I did complete this section. But you're going to notice I haven't clicked the decline and accept button. So here's her award agreement. She's completed it. And as she's completed it, she, of course, saves it and then returns to her dashboard. And this is where you might want to put at the end of that section a big bold, something that's bold red that says, please return to your dashboard and click these buttons. So if I click decline, it's going to move her to the status of declined award. And that's what it's going to show on your manage applications. If she clicks accept, and when she clicks accept, everything has to be 100%, just like when they submit. So if you added any questions later on, that's where we always say don't add after the application's live, because if they've submitted, they might have missed something. So everything has to be 100% complete, and she can click the accept. And that's going to say that you're confirming your acceptance. She's going to say accept award. And now she's going to be at a status of award accepted. So right now you'll say, okay, so she's at a status of award accepted. Why didn't those other sections appear? Well, she does have to go out. So that's why we always say make them post accepted sections. So right here you can see she even sees on her status award accepted. Now when she clicks back in, since I've got those sections active, those are now going to appear on her dashboard. Now, if they weren't active, they wouldn't appear on her dashboard. But then, of course, when it's time for her to complete them, I would want to notify her, hey, it's time now. You have an additional section. I can release these one at a time. I don't have to do them. You can see by that active, selecting it and unselecting it, I can control when they get this on their dashboard. And so since she is at award accepted, she's now seeing those, because those two sections said anybody who has an award accepted get those two sections. And then she can go in and complete those as well. So I'm going to go back out and log back in now that she's gone through this. Let me go ahead and just see if I can quickly, it might be too long to complete, but it's going to want me to do upload, so I won't be able to do that. Okay, I was hoping I could complete it real quick, but it's not gonna, I'm not going to be able to. So you could see how it shows in the post accepted section. Okay, so now I'm going to go back out and log back in as the admin. And I've got a bunch of passwords, so let's hope it picks up the right one. Okay, So now if I go back into that application form, here again, I can see, okay, she's accepted her award. And if I go to the manage reports, post accepted section, I don't think it's going to show. Yeah, it's not going to show here, but it'll put submitted and then the date and time that she submitted it once she completes that section. And that's where that clicking that submit button is important, because that's what puts it on this specific screen. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and stop that for there, and then go ahead and turn it back over to Maureen and see if we had any additional questions come in on all that. It's all yours,
Thank you,
Maureen.
Christine.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And that was really helpful. John, do let us know how you found the session. Christine will give the information about the survey later. We do have a few more questions here. Are the acceptance and post-acceptance sections were inactive? One of our clients has asked. The acceptance and post-acceptance sections are inactive. Were inactive even before I opened it for the applicants, the awarded applicants. Yet I see the section percentage has increased over 100, over 0%. Well, she's concerned that it gives more than 0%. It's plain and simple. During the implementation process, what we have done is we've linked your questions on the post acceptance and acceptance sections from other existing sections like the applicant information, organization information, etc. So these questions were linked. That is why the information got auto populated. Do not worry, your applicants have not been going in, they have not seen these sections at all. If they were inactive, they're not going to see these sections at all. But once you've activated, you see all of this information getting populated on its own. The reason is the linked questions. Okay, it just makes your applicant life easier, the work easier to complete once the post acceptance and acceptance sections open up at their end. Another question related to the same post acceptance and acceptance sections is, I can see all of the post acceptance and acceptance sections, award agreement, reporting sections from my end on the applicant dashboard. I do not want my applicants to see this information. It's just simple. You as an admin, if you're seeing this as an admin on a specific applicant dashboard, as Christine is showing under manage applications, right? If this is the path you have followed and you went into the applicant dashboard and saw these sections present available, no, the applicants are not seeing any of this information. It's just you having more access. In addition to the access that the applicant has, we give the admins a little bit more access. These sections are just active. That's it. You are the only one who's seeing this. Applicants are not seeing this. So please rest assured there's nothing wrong with these sections. You as an admin are the only ones who are seeing this. Can the system automatically notify the applicants of the new post acceptance sections? Like if you have the year end report that has been, the mid year report has been completed, or 6 months information has been taken from your applicants, the awarded applicants, and you want the year end information to be completed, you activate it, of course, but you want the system to automatically notify the applicants. That's not going to happen. You have to manually send the email notifications to your applicants. Yes, there is a way you can pre-schedule these emails. Christine, you were trying to say something.
No. I was
Okay.
just talking
Yes.
from when you were
Good.
talking about why it's showing up on their dashboard when they
Okay.
really haven't, is because as the admin, you see everything that's activated on the screen.
Thank you, Christine. Yes. So regarding the post-acceptance sections, you always have the option of pre-scheduling the emails. Pre-schedule the emails, keep them ready. When the time is right, all that you have to do is, activate the sections and the emails, because they're already scheduled, they will be sent out. So those are the questions, I think. Award. All right. I think the rest of the questions I have answered, Christine, in the Q&A box. If you have any other questions, everyone, please feel free to ask before we end the call. All yours, Christine. Back to you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Very good. Yeah. And then I'll just show quickly that notification. What she's talking about is what you can do is when you're sending an email. So like maybe everybody that's award accepted, I can come up here. I can say award accepted. I can hit the notify. And then when you notify, you can schedule the email. So what you do want to do though, if it's not active at this time, maybe I want to schedule this email to go out 6 months from now. You want to make sure to remember though that you go in before that email goes out automatically from the schedule, that you do go in and activate that section, or otherwise you're going to send out the email and you're going to get a lot of pushback saying, hey, I can't find the section, what are you talking about? So that's just one thing. If you do that, you don't have them activated when you create that, you do want to make sure that you do activate it before that date hits for that scheduled email to go out. Okay, so that's all we have to cover for today. So we do appreciate everyone's attendance, and hopefully we were able to answer your questions and help everyone have a better idea of how to do awarding. We do have all the resources that'll give you some more in-depth details on how to do some of the functionality that we don't have time to cover in today's session, more step-by-step on how to do certain things, links to those in the help desk. And of course, as always, if you have any questions about anything regarding what we covered today, uh, and you'd like to meet with a client success specialist, we always have that available for you to meet with someone to go over your processes, discuss how you do them, and then how you can incorporate that using functionality in our system. So always reach out, do that through Zendesk, enter a support ticket, and ask for an assistant, a meeting with the client support team to get the assistance you need in that manner. And then, of course, also any other questions, you're always welcome to enter a ticket into Zendesk, and they will do the best to answer it as well. And then, of course, if they can't find the answer, they will also turn it over to a client success person to reach out to you. So again, I thank everyone for your attendance, and there will be a survey that comes up after this. So please be sure to answer that survey and reply to that, so that we can get your feedback and know what other sessions you would like to hear about, as well as how we can better improve what we've given you so far. So again, everyone, I thank you and have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. The next session is going to be awarding applicants, but that's if you have a one-to-many application. So one application, and in that one application, you have multiple funds tied to it. It's a little bit different awarding process, so we'll go over that in our next session. So thank you, everyone, and have a good day.